Most people assume one is clearly safer than the other. But when you actually look closer, the answer isn't as obvious as it seems. Every day, millions of people choose between tap water and bottled water without thinking much about it. One comes straight from the sink. The other comes sealed in plastic, often labeled as pure or clean. At first glance, bottled water feels like the safer option. But is it really? To understand this, we need to look at how both sources work and where the risks actually come from. Tap water is treated at centralized facilities. It goes through filtration, chemical processes, and testing before it's distributed to homes. In many developed areas, this system is designed to meet safety standards set by regulatory agencies. On paper, that sounds reliable. But the process doesn't end at the treatment plant. After treatment, water travels through a network of pipes sometimes for miles before it reaches your home. And this is where things can change. Pipes can be old. Materials can degrade. In some cases, water may pick up small amounts of metals, sediments, or other residues along the way. That means even if the water starts clean, it doesn't always arrive in the same condition. And this is one of the biggest concerns people have with tap water: consistency. Now let's look at bottled water. Bottled water is often seen as controlled and protected. It's sealed, packaged, and stored. That gives people a sense of security. But the reality is more complex. Many bottled water brands source their water from municipal supplies, the same type of water that comes from the tap. The difference is that it may go through additional filtration before being bottled. So in some cases, bottled water starts from the same place as tap water. Then it's processed, packaged, and transported. And each of those steps introduces its own variables. For example, storage conditions matter. Bottled water can sit in warehouses, trucks, or store shelves for long periods. During that time, exposure to heat or sunlight can affect the plastic container. Some studies suggest that under certain conditions, small amounts of substances from the plastic can leach into the water. While levels are usually low, it's still a factor worth considering. There's also the issue of time. Tap water is used almost immediately. Bottled water may have been packaged weeks or months earlier. That delay doesn't necessarily make it unsafe, but it changes the way we think about freshness. So now we have two systems. Tap water, treated, regulated, but dependent on infrastructure. Bottled water, processed, packaged, but dependent on storage and handling. Neither is perfect. And that's where the confusion begins. Because people are not just asking which one is safer in general, they're asking which one is safer for them, in their situation. Some people prefer tap water because it's regulated and continuously monitored. Others prefer bottled water because it feels more controlled and predictable. But both perspectives have limitations. Regulation doesn't guarantee consistency at the point of use. Packaging doesn't guarantee long-term purity. So instead of asking which one is safer, it may be more useful to ask a different question. What risks am I more comfortable managing? If you rely on tap water, you're trusting the infrastructure and delivery system. If you rely on bottled water, you're trusting the packaging and supply chain. Both require a level of trust. And this is where many people begin to look for a middle ground. They want something that gives them more control. Not full dependence on municipal systems. Not ongoing reliance on packaged water. But a way to improve or manage water quality directly at home. This is why filtration systems have become more popular. Some are simple, like pitcher filters. Others are more advanced and installed under the sink. These systems can reduce certain contaminants and improve taste. However, they also come with trade-offs. Cost is one factor. Maintenance is another. Filters need to be replaced regularly, and performance varies depending on the system and the water source. So while filtration can help, it's not always a complete answer. This leads to a broader shift in how people think about water. Instead of choosing between two imperfect options, they start exploring ways to take a more active role in managing their water. That could mean testing their tap water. It could mean using simple filtration methods. Or it could involve exploring alternative setups that allow them to adjust or control water properties at home. For example, some people look into methods that modify water characteristics, such as mineral balance or pH levels. One approach that comes up in these discussions is water ionization. The details and benefits are debated, but the interest itself reflects something important. People want involvement. They don't just want to consume water, they want to understand it. And that's the key insight. The real question isn't just tap versus bottled. It's about how much control you have over what you're drinking. Because when you rely entirely on external systems, you're accepting their limitations. When you start managing your own setup, even in a simple way, you reduce uncertainty. That doesn't mean creating something complex or expensive. In many cases, people are looking for solutions that are practical, affordable, and easy to maintain. Something that fits into daily life without adding unnecessary complications. And that's why the conversation is shifting from choosing between options to understanding and improving them. So, what's safer? Tap water can be safe but depends on infrastructure. Bottled water can be convenient but depends on handling and storage. Neither is a perfect solution on its own. And for many people, the best approach is not choosing one over the other but finding a way to improve their water in a way that feels reliable. If this made you rethink how you approach drinking water, there's a resource in the description that outlines a simple method some people use to gain more control over their water at home. It breaks things down in a practical way, so you can review how it works and decide if it fits your situation. And if you want more content like this clear, structured explanations of everyday systems, consider subscribing. Because when you understand your options, you make better decisions.